What's up? It's Jeremy Picker from Amber Creative.
This is Deanna with In the Zoning and Print Girl Mafia.
This is Ray Weiss with Printing the Night of the Lion.
You're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Fashion to the people.
Welcome into the show. It is Friday, November 14th, 2025. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group and American Print and Supply. And Terry, again, everybody's going to go, Aaron, you say that every week, but I do truly believe this and mean this every week. I'm always excited for the guests that we have. And today I'm really excited to have Dan Frank join us. Dan is somebody that's in the space. He's living what we're talking about day in and day out. And I had the great pleasure to meet him in person in Dallas not too long ago. And I just love his perspective, his take. And I said, Dan, we've got to have you on the podcast here. He's going to talk about how to kind of operate your business from that client's perspective, how he goes about developing effective solutions, and really kind of, as the title of this show talked about, the power of process. So I think this is definitely a day that you want to have your junior yellow legal pad handy with the fresh sheet ready to write down all these gold nuggets on.
Ready.
Ready.
Well, I hadn't met Dan before, but we chatted for a while you were breaking traffic laws getting to your studio.
I was really enjoying my time at the coffee shop, and I looked down. I'm like, uh-oh, gotta go.
Coming in hot like hot coffee. Exactly.
That's right. Right here.
All right,
Textual coffee, by the way, everybody.
On the secret sauce today, Aaron is going to share his secret to balancing the use of AI with authenticity. And that's certainly a timely piece that you're going to do, since just yesterday we had our special program we did with Jay Bassell on AI and automation.
Yeah, it was a good time yesterday. And then we've had a couple of shows recently. In fact, we even have a bonus show coming up for people on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, that's going to talk a little bit more about that. So it's all the rage these days. You and I even interviewed ChatGPT yesterday. So that was kind of...
We did indeed. And our Thanksgiving show, it's going to come with an Australian accent. So.
That's right. Good day, mate. Sorry, that was my terrible impression of an Australian accent. Brad can give me grief later. All right. Well, I'm excited to bring that secret sauce today, but I'm also really excited for our good friends from World Imaging News to share the news and all the fun that they have in the way that they bring the news to us. They are working their tails off. I'm surprised one of them's not on an airplane right now, to be honest with you. But are you ready to bring in MJ and Dan Barefoot from World Imaging News?
Absolutely. Let's hear the news.
Hey everyone, it's MJ coming to you from the always bustling Bogota, Colombia.
And good day, mateys.
Oh no.
And I'm Dan, checking in, not from Australia, but from rainy Southern California. Hey, MJ, we've been on a whirlwind lately, especially on the news front. From FESPA, Mexico, straight into Printing United, it's been nonstop.
You're absolutely right, Dan. Both shows were powerhouses. Printing United, in particular, was massive record setting. Actually, over 30,000 visitors, more than 800 exhibitors, and attendees from 100 plus countries. That's truly international reach.
It really is international. Hey, before we dive into the show floor buzz, some big breaking news dropped on Wednesday. We sent out a breaking news alert to our subscribers. Fiery has acquired in-edit software from EFI Reggiani. This move expands Fiery's footprint into digital textile and specialty software RIPs.
That's right, Dan. And World Imaging News had previously noted that when Fiery was acquired by Epson, Inedit wasn't part of that deal. which now raises fresh questions about Reggiani's long term direction and what this latest move means for the brand.
And there's more. Industry chatter is heating up around reports that EFI itself could be sold soon. Cirrus Capital Group, the private equity firm that took EFI private, is rumored to be exploring a sale. Definitely something we're watching.
Absolutely, Dan. As always, we're locked in on wide format,
hmm
apparel, and digital decoration, and there's a lot to cover.
No kidding. DTF absolutely dominated the conversation at Printing United. Forget more printers. The real breakthrough came from chemistry.
Exactly, Dan. DuPont made major headlines with its artistry jetable adhesive for DTF, a game changer that could eliminate the need for
Mhm.
TPU powder entirely. Shipments are expected to kick off in mid 2026.
And DuPont wasn't alone. Hongsam, Matsui, and Nuer all unveiled next gen jetable adhesive technologies that push DTF printing further than ever.
On the hardware side, American Print and Supply rolled out a complete DTF ecosystem, while Imaging Supply's warehouse, Flash Printing Depot, and Coldesi impressed with streamlined workflow and finishing solutions.
Mhm.
That wraps up our DTF coverage from Printing United, and what a lineup it was then.
MJ, this reminds me of that old FedEx commercial, the one where the announcer talked a mile a minute to show how fast their service was. We're doing the same today just to fit in all the news.
So down then, did you
It's
have
pretty dumb,
Colombian
I know.
coffee? Yeah. Do you have Colombian coffee by any chance this morning?
Guilty as charged. And by the way, you didn't have to agree that it was dumb. Okay. But let's keep it rolling because it's time for our two regular guys product of the month.
This month's pick is the Mimaki TS200 1600, an
Mhm.
8-color 64-inch die sublimation printer that delivers stunning output, and through the end of the year, it's priced at just $9,995.
In a video that we did with Josh Hope of Mimaki, those neon and expanded color options were off the charts. It's truly an impressive printer.
And then Mimaki's been on fire lately,
Mhm.
continuing that momentum with this announcement, plus a 3-year warranty on this model.
That's a strong package all around, MJ.
Totally agree, Dan. A solid pick and a standout release for this month.
Hey, great stories today, as always. For the latest in digital imaging news, visit worldimagingnews.com.
And for our Latino audience, head to worldimagingnewslatina.com and sign up for Win Quick News.
That's it for this edition of Win News on Two Regular Guys. I'm Dan.
And I'm MJ.
Until next time, be healthy and keep smiling.
Manténganse saludables y sigan sonriendo.
Terry, so much fun as always. And I think this is what I really love about what they're doing over there. They're just putting their personality, but also, man, just really kind of bringing, the list of stories. If you go, make sure that you go over there and check out their site at worldimagingnnews.com. Sign up for their newsletters, all the things. It's jam packed with industry information.
Always something new, always something that I hadn't heard about.
Yeah.
Every time
We're
we do the news.
knee deep in this stuff daily, right? And yet, I learn something new every time we have MJ and Dan on, and I appreciate Dan trying to get me off the hook for my terrible Australian accent. So. All right. Well, we do have some regulators checking in here, and Doug. Rainy Los Angeles, California over there. Is that heading your way, Terry? You guys going to get some rain there?
We actually are supposed to get some rain tomorrow. So
there you go. So,
but for us, it's like Christmas snow. It's like, hey, it's raining, everyone.
It's holiday rain in Arizona. We could use a little water. Well, Doug is sending it your way, Terry. So,
all right, very good.
And then we've got Happy Friday. So yeah, if you guys are tuned in live right now, let us know that you're there and checking in. We've got Rena Cooper. Good morning, gentlemen. Rena, just make sure in the future you use the quotes on the gentleman part. Yeah. You know us. Come on now. And then we've got Craig. Good morning, Craig from Collegiate Press Wide Format. Really good stuff. All right, Terry. Well, the next segment before we get to Dan here is the world's best dad jokes.
Yes, according to Cassie Green. So, and you're bringing it today. So let's hear your dad joke.
I'm ready. All right, Terry. What do you call a happy cowboy?
I don't know. What do you call a happy cowboy?
A jolly rancher.
That's pretty good. I see Eric's giving his traditional head shake, but he's not doing the face palm.
And then when you said that's pretty good, he says, no, it's not. That is the quintessential dad joke, right? Because it's not a dad joke until it becomes apparent.
Exactly. All right. Before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to osg.link/intro, read a few sentences, and be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests like today. If you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info at tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. And if you're watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions for Dan.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to interact with everybody. And again, make sure that you are getting out there and following us. And, also go to our website at tworegularguys.com. We are in the middle of Reggie season here. The voting is happening. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end here, maybe if we have some time. But honestly, we're here to talk to Dan. So Terry, you ready to bring Dan in here?
Let's bring him in.
Awesome. Hello, Mr. Dan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Good to see you guys.
Good to have you. Thank you for spending a little of your Friday morning here with us. Dan, as I mentioned at the top, right, I was really blessed to get to know you a little bit more in Dallas there. But for those people that don't know you yet, and by the way, you have been out there on the podcast scene. I went searching and man, there's Dan. So that's I know you've been doing this for a little bit, but share a little bit about your background. And I know you've got a deep amount of experience in logistics and manufacturing. So how is that background and logistics manufacturing kind of give us the 101 there, but also tell us how that's maybe shaped the way that you're leading your current company?
Sure. Raised in a small town, went to San Jose State University and went to Germany to get my master's, or what they call a practicum. Oh. And that really kind of, if you know anything about Germany, they're really process oriented, right? So it was in manufacturing for Daimler-Benz. When I got back to the U.S., I just kind of landed in supply chain or third-party logistics, and went 30-year career. Last couple jobs were CEO jobs for medium-sized companies, I would say. But what I really learned is to obviously streamline the supply chain. So supporting manufacturing, we were in warehouse and distribution. So, just in time, making sure that the products are there, they get shipped, on the inbound and the outbound side. About 6 years ago, I bought this company, and the reason I bought it was I really am an entrepreneur by kind of just DNA, and I loved everything I did in corporate America, everything I learned, but I really wanted to do my own thing. So I also wanted to move to Reno, Nevada, close to my mom. She had dementia at the time. She's passed, but really to care for her. Yeah. And it's about an hour away, small town called Colfax, California, about 1,900 people. So you can imagine I couldn't move home. Yeah. But Reno was a good spot, and I liked the business climate here. And so honestly, I didn't want to buy a pizza parlor or a restaurant or anything like that. And I have a manufacturing background, and I saw this listing for a screen print company, and I thought, don't know what that is really. But so I walked in, kind of looked around, talked to the owner. He had a proprietary software. He was about 2.5 million, a really tight team that'd been there a long time. And he's still consulting for the company today. So it was a good purchase as far as the process, right? So I think I did a podcast with him and I about how we worked that out.
Oh, wow.
But from there, we hit COVID about 6 months later, and we went from 35 people to 12. So it felt pretty stressful. We were 50% sports, so we had to kind of re-engineer the company, and I was pulling shirts and doing things that. But again, I want to tell you, I really love that because I've been an administrator for so long, just getting involved and I really learned the business that way as well. So maybe not a blessing, but it wasn't a curse, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. And so we kind of just rebuilt the company. If you don't mind, the last 4 years is really where we kind of, got our feet underneath us and we started saying, okay, who are we? Pretty traditional screen print and embroidery company. Again, good company, proprietary software. I could see a lot of things, but I felt like the industry really needed solutions providers. And so we've changed our name to Silverscreen Decoration and Fulfillment. One reason decoration is, we don't want to be a screen printer or an embroiderer. We want to offer all solutions to the customer. Also, fulfillment I saw in the supply chain side was very weak. When I say weak, there's not many decorators, in my opinion. There are some, of course, there are always some, but that really develop solutions and study the supply chain and try to help their customers.
Amazing. Terry, can I follow up with that real quick? Because something that Dan just said really stood out to me. Explain this idea of being a solution provider first. I'm sure we're going to kind of dig into that a little bit more, but that, like, when you said we focused on becoming a solutions provider, that just really kind of hit me upside the head.
Yeah, and again, all in the spirit of trying to add value to the customer. What I saw is, what I call forecast planning, working out with customers, kind of, where their SKU environment was. It felt a little invasive to some customers at first because they weren't used to the questions, but it does matter to a printer. What shirts are you printing on? Where are you pulling them from? When they arrive? I felt like nobody really asked those questions. And now we're big into procurement as well for large retailers and things like that. So obviously we're much more sizable. I think we'll do 12 or 13 million this year. But part of that solution was, hey, do we need to procure the garments? Do we not need? Working with Sanmar, Belling Canvas, LAT, the garment providers, and getting forecasts and really trying to stabilize the supply chain, either by us purchasing or by being part of that process. And then on the outbound side, the solutions as far as, drop shipping. A lot goes to a DC where it shouldn't, in my opinion, and, really getting good at fulfillment. And then the solution side inside the shop, we really, we have all technologies now. And when you ask me about solutions, if somebody talked about sewing, and now we have sewing machines everywhere, right? So we have DTF, we have DTG, we have, we've built out. The way we look at a customer is they bring us a problem and we solve that problem, be it inside the shop or on the outside, if that makes sense.
Love it. And I love, Dan, how you lean into your experience too, to, here's how I can provide solutions. I come with this experience in the fulfillment, in the supply chain, and just like you said, then asking your customers those questions. What's the problem that I can solve for you? Not, do you want another shirt? But what's the problem I can solve for you, and then extrapolate from there, it sounds like.
Yeah, if you don't mind, what I also viewed in the industry is it was very, everybody was price proposals, meaning it was all pricing. And I think the way that you can add value, a lot of times the print cost isn't all the cost, right? If you can create an efficient supply chain, the printing cost is less of an issue. And, I'm in business to make money and to make sure my employees are well paid and, we're healthy as a company. And if you can add value, we found that, we're not the cheapest, but sometimes maybe we are if we're managing that supply chain efficiently.
Yeah. Amazing.
I love it. It's not about printing more shirts. So,
yeah.
So Dan, before the show, we were talking a little bit about you're in the middle of a 30 or maybe it's 40% growth year. You can explain that for us. But what are the biggest factors driving that huge success you're having this year?
We've kind of touched on it. I don't think there's, I get calls a lot of times and said, we feel like you're the guys that can actually help us with this problem. I think the industry is evolving, and I think that the customer base is starting to realize, hey, this isn't really working, or what about ideas? And we're an idea company, right? So we embrace those ideas. We've created a DECO alliance across the U.S. where we have partner companies nationally. So we control tower adhere through our technology. We send out work, so we're not afraid. One of the things I recognized as we grew is Reno's only 30% of the population live in the West. It's great here because Sanmar and SNS are here in LAT. But what about Atlanta, or what about the East Coast? What about the Midwest? So we've created that alliance, and that has helped definitely. We're really focused now. Not, by the way, we just took on probably 7 what I would call medium-sized or smaller companies. So we're not against that at all. But those tend to be more regional. But also we're really focused. We're working on 5 different bids that are national as well. And so we're kind of focusing on those $1 million plus companies that need technology. Obviously, I didn't speak about it, but that proprietary technology, we can create APIs or CSVs with our customers. If you don't mind, I always feel a little self-conscious when I say things like this, but the industry also is pretty light on technology and systems. We have a portal that interacts with the customer, that they can see their orders, they can manage their orders, they can put in chats, and so it's creating the technology, I think, is needed in the industry to create that connectivity with the customer as well.
Amazing. Now, Dan, I'm guessing a lot of this, going back to your story at the beginning where you spent that time in Germany and yes, a very rigid process at times, right? At least my experience with a lot of the Germans that I've come across. But, I do think also, talking about the industry, we do see a lot of companies that are kind of, very creatives. So they want to kind of run on this chaos mentality of, wherever the whim takes them. But you definitely emphasize this process over that. Obviously you've got that background there, but how did you start creating those systems inside of this company that you took over, and what kind of made the biggest difference when you started implementing those?
Yeah, it's a deep subject for sure. I think I'd start with saying that this year we succeeded in being on time all the time. So we're 5 days from all product and art. We're out the door. But that is really about process, right? Really working with our customers on process, working on the team with process. I have 5 great managers that manage embroidery, screen print, digital, logistics, and then we have an operations manager who's inside working with order management and all that. And we have a meeting every 9:30 in the morning, and we talk about where we're at. We go through our workload. We labor share internally. That doesn't seem to be a big deal, but if somebody calls out sick and there's other people, we move that around on HR and cost those departments as well. But really good managers, good communication, good teamwork, and then a real focus on process, right? If we fail at something, we study how it was failed, what were the breakdowns. And, I have a call about some screen print concerns we have on techniques and stuff today, and we're just going to dive into that because we've had a couple of errors in sports. And, so really identifying those breaks in the process and fixing them.
Yeah. Aaron, should I say it? Do good work, deliver on time. Do good work.
That is Terry's.
Deliver on time.
Yeah. Well, Dan, the other thing that stands out to me is you mentioned the process and your focus on the process. I imagine that also empowers your team, because a lot of times I think team members sometimes feel like an error. They take that personally. But if they see you as the leader focusing on what's broken in the process, now it's not a personal, hey, I screwed up. It's a, hey, how can I be part of the solution, right? And yes, maybe they didn't do their step in the process, but I don't know. Just it seems to me that focus on process also really might empower your team members.
Yeah, I had a discussion with somebody about this, and here's the thing that I believe. I believe that when I was 35, I didn't do very good at this. I was too brash and too aggressive. And what I've learned over time is if you fail, it's okay. It's really okay that we can actually even laugh about it and say, "Oh boy, we screwed up. How are we gonna address this issue?" Right. So I think it's incumbent upon me and the managers with the supervisors is to not penalize them or feel like they're being chastised, but this is what I always say: 90% of the time it's process or training. hairs, right? So don't go toward the employee and, tell them you screwed up, but say, hey, how did this happen? What can we do better? Was it the tech room? Was it art? How did again, I think 90% of the time it's the process breakdown, or the individual wasn't trained properly. That's all on us. So why should we get on the employee and find the culprit instead of find where and how we can improve in a positive environment, right?
Amazing. Love it.
You are speaking our language.
Good.
We, something that I discovered after becoming a screen printer in a previous century, and was that there are lots and lots and lots of screen printers. There aren't very many good screen printers, and I don't mean to be harsh with that, but a lot of folks don't get the training, the education, that sort of thing. But that also causes people to fear outsourcing. So what helped you get past that fear and embrace outsourcing?
Boy, you guys are hitting on some good things that I wouldn't even bring up, but we have 7 outsourced companies. I have a fractional CFO and an accounting department. Marketing is all done outside. Graphics Source is our art department in Honduras. We do have artists here, of course, as well. We outsource much production to a medium-sized printer here, probably a good piece of his business as well. I came up with 7, so I apologize, but I think that the idea is that I don't want to buy more equipment than I have capacity for in January. I know that's, speaking in screen print, I don't want, I have 11 presses, autos. I don't need 20 for the peak season. I need partners. I need people to help support the business. So the Deco Alliance is an outsourced model. Why do I have to open it? I thought about opening a shop in the Midwest or the East Coast, and I thought, now we've got 2 locations. We've got all this management, and we're connecting. We have weekly calls. We figure out how to attack problems for customers. So I think the key in the industry is learning to effectively outsource and use those partners to scale and grow your company.
Yeah. So Dan, speaking of the outsourcing then, right, I know you talked about the Alliance and some of the things that you guys have done there, but what are some other things that you do or see as your responsibility when it comes to keeping those outsourced partners aligned with your brand and the standards that your customers have come to expect?
Yeah, that's difficult. I think you just have to, we have a weekly call, so we address, any breaks in the process. You also have to get on planes. So we're onboarding a company in Atlanta, and here I'm actually going to U.S. Colorworks for Fulfill Engine in a couple of weeks. We're working as a private network with the alliances, so we're trying to learn the same process. There just has to be a lot of communication. I think also be honest with your partners and don't be a giver. That may sound funny, but the local printer here, I want to make sure he's healthy. And maybe even if it's going to cost me a little bit, to support him and make sure that he's healthy, right? So I always tell my partners in the Alliance, I will never lie to you. And let's not lie to each other, or let's not look towards ourselves, but let's really worry about the common good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's huge because, inside of that, right, I think a lot of people look at outsourced partners as a vendor, right? It's a transaction. And if you didn't do my transaction the way I wanted you to do it, I'm going to come down on you and I'm the customer and I'm always right, that kind of sensation. But it sounds like you don't look at it like that. You look at it truly as a partnership, which I believe an outsourced partner should be. So, thank you for clarifying, it's not a set it and forget it. Here's my purchase order and good luck. It's you've built the relationships. You're working together. You're getting on the plane even. That's important. So good stuff.
So I don't like the word vendor. You just want the word partner. I love the word partner, but you have to mean it. I mean, I get a lot of clients say, "Hey, we're partners." What it means is drop your price, right? So it's like, well, I don't know if that's really a partnership, but the idea is, a large distributor called me probably 2 weeks ago and gave me an incredible lead and said, I think you guys can do great with them. And I asked her why. And she even knew we pay all our vendors Friday for the next week, meaning that they're our partner. We're not going to stretch their money. that sometimes causes cash flow for us, but that's partnership, right? They don't have to worry if we're going to pay the bill on time. They don't have to do AR collections and so on and so forth. That may seem like a small thing, but the truth is they check you off and say, good partner, right? I think it's incumbent upon us in this industry to be good partners to all, I was going to say vendor, but all our partners, right?
Yeah,
and you can easily say, well, I'm in trouble, so they're in trouble. And the answer is no, you have to protect them. Our job is to protect the supply chain.
I love it. Wow.
Yeah.
Ramona McKee added in the comments here, as an outsource vendor partner, we'll go back to that. I digitize embroidery for clients. I present myself as part of the team. I'm out of house, but still part of the team. I do my best to make them be their best. Yeah. I like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Have a partner and mean it. Everybody write that down.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I'm running out of room on my whiteboard over here. So,
so Dan, you mentioned your management team. How do you develop and empower your leadership team, and in terms of the overall team's performance?
Yeah, we have a bunch of disciplines. So there's 3 that we practice. Number 1, we meet every 9:30 every morning. It's a quick meeting. We call it a huddle. We don't chit chat, but if somebody has an issue, they raise it, and we just basically say, hey, get with. It's more about not this problem to talk about it, but this problem I need to get with somebody. And we create those subgroups where those meetings are after the meeting. Sometimes people stay. I have one-on-ones with each of my 5 managers every single month. We just sit down and say how things are going, try to stay tracking. I make sure they have notes. I have notes. And then, like I spoke about, if we see things that are strategic in a crisis environment, something we really need to dig into, we'll set a meeting for that and in that subject matter. So we try to, it sounds formulaic, but actually, if you get used to it, you're just used to addressing problems, right? You're not going to let things linger. They need to be done quickly. It's not put it on the calendar for next month type stuff. It's stuff to attack. I would use the word, right? In a team environment. But lots of communication. I think everybody gets, in my opinion, and this is what I've seen over the years, everybody gets too busy to address problems. And then the problems fester and grow. And then sometimes you can have cultural issues or conflict, right? So I also, in the shop, I'm a big proponent of professional language. That may seem kind of funny, but I think I've convinced my managers that if people are using crass language and then it starts turning on one another, that's a hot spot that needs to be addressed. And the answer is we've got to be respectful. We've got to use professional language, be professionals, and honor each other, right? I use that word a lot. This is it. We're not at the bar, right? If you want to go to the bar and do all that, that's great. And maybe I'll join them, right? But at the end of the day, we need to come in here and really honor the company, the customers, and the employees. And morale is a big deal in our industry. I mean, this is a hard job. And in the summer, it's 110 outside, and it's, who knows, we try to cool the shop as best possible. But, this is not the easiest job in the world. And those employees need to feel like we care for them.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that. Yeah, I've always done the stand-up meeting as well. First thing in the morning, let's see where we are and where we need to be today, and stand up, because don't get too comfortable in your chair. We're gonna hit the high points, and then we're gonna scatter and get the work done.
Yeah, one of the things we do that helps us with that focus is we obviously go through our schedule, see if there's any problems. Our DNAs, we're going to call it out to the customer if we think it's at risk. So we want to hit our estimated ship dates. The other thing, we use a BI tool, and that shows, in pie charts and different things like that, if we have trouble in a certain department. Like right now, art and embroidery is starting to be in trouble. We reached out to GraphX Source. We put on another artist. We saw that through the BI tool. That makes sense. Sure. And then the other thing we do is we look at daily billing. It's 2 days behind, but we study where we're at versus our budget, and we just try to keep on track there. And if we see things slipping or so on and so forth, is that demand related? Should we put out a CRM and say, hey, we got some capacity, or do we need to, where are we at? And just really, I think metrics are really important, not just process, but really metrics, because metrics can show you where process could become a problem, right? From labor or things like that. So
yeah, it seems like it's almost your crystal ball in a little bit of a sense, right? And just for folks that maybe it took me a second, I had to wrap my brain around what BI meant, but BI, just correct me if I'm wrong here, Dan. Business intelligence, is that what that stands for you?
That's correct. Yeah, it connects to our operating system and it kicks out data.
Yep.
in a format that we can look on the screen and see where it's at.
Yeah, perfect. I love it. I love it. All right. So as we're talking about this, Dan, you and I were able to have a conversation in Dallas, and I can't remember exactly the conversation, but there was something that stood out. You talked about merit-based kind of culture that you've created. I think that's the other thing that I really love learning from you is how much you're invested in your culture. And you just talked about, how that communication and all that stuff plays into that. But maybe share with us how this idea of a merit-based culture could show up in your day-to-day operation, and maybe any stories about the impact that that's had on your overall performance.
Yeah, I mean, in corporate America, I couldn't do this, so I'm a rebel because I didn't like the constraints of HR in corporations. I didn't think you could merit them quick enough. There was a lot of policy around it. I got to be honest with you, it's probably necessary in a large company, so I'm not being critical.
Yeah.
But the hourly employees at Silverscreen, I always use an example. I had one employee that came in. She came from a small town. She picked up printing very quickly. We judge every printer. We score, again, metrics on the press as well. 70, 80, 90, 100, 110% of projected output. So they get a schedule. We measure that schedule, just focusing on that discipline, but it's disciplines throughout the shop. And she was at 90% in like 2 months, 3 months.
Wow.
And then she was at 100. And then all of a sudden she was leading the charge of being 110. Nobody else was, and it raised the water for the shop. Well, the good news for her and the good news for us is that, I think the outcome was we created that outcome. I would say she created it more. But what happens if we hadn't have increased her pay every time she hit those metrics? So what we call it is meritocracy, and we study the performance of the employee. And we don't care if somebody's been here 3 years or 3 months, we're studying facts. So she got 6 increases in a year. I mean, that seems like a lot. I remember it just, the manager would come back, give me a pay increase. He has to pitch why, and he has to show me the data, and I sign it. I've not vetoed an increase in probably 2 years now. So the managers know, bring a story, right? I always sign those with a smile and think, I tell them, hey, I put a little note for them because they read the form, right? Hey, great job, really appreciate it. That creates an enthusiasm to perform. I would tell you that we're probably at 140 people productivity with 107 people right now. And what I mean is legacy, right? Our productivity, we have some employees that come in, we're not really good. Well, the first 3 months, people tend to turn very quickly, meaning our percentage is probably 50-50. That may seem terrible, but I think what it is that some people come in and they maybe should have gone to apply for the DMV. It's a little bit more relaxed, right? So, and that's okay, but in our shop, we have a really high work ethic. But the employees that like that environment stay. And the employees that feel like that's a little bit too aggressive for them, they find something that, maybe fits them a little bit better. We don't want to penalize them. We try to bless them on the way in and the way out. We don't want to, but we're okay with people leaving. We're not going to hold on to them if it's not right for them.
Yeah.
But the productivity just continues to go up. But I think, in my opinion, businesses wait for a yearly review for an hourly employee. To me, it's like, what? I mean, in 90 days we review. We look at if they're really they were hired at X dollars and they're bringing already value at Y, for example. We change their pay, and then we monitor their performance from there. And I'm super happy when somebody gets 3 increases in a year.
Yeah,
I'd say this just because we're all in businesses. I think employers look at employees as liabilities or cost. I think it's better to look at them as an asset. Yeah. And if that asset grows in value, you have to reward the employee, right? And I think in our culture, I find sometimes people are like, oh, my pay's going up. And I go, is your productivity going up? I mean, if the answer is yes, then celebrate that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Yeah, I love it. In fact, it almost reminds me of and I can't remember exactly what company it was, but I was reading about, I think it was either Amazon or Zappos. And after the 90-day mark, they would basically pay their employees to leave, like give them $1,000 if they wanted to leave, because again, they didn't want people that didn't fit with what they were trying to do. And not exactly what you were saying there, but I think you're doing it the opposite of that, saying, paying them to stay if they're going to step up and be part of what you're you're looking to do with the productivity. So that idea of them being an asset over a liability is huge. So thank you for sharing that.
I think we share a brain on all this. So,
Uh,
so with your incredible growth, with the fact that you're doing screen printing and embroidery and direct to garment, direct to film, what's your process for identifying new opportunities, deciding when you want to say yes to something new?
Well, the business, and again, I'm fairly opinionated. I always try to be, humble, or, in the sense that my way is not always the best way, but this is my thought process toward business development. Is I don't like the word sales. Sales kind of equals a salesperson, right? Who's your sales rep? We don't have any sales department here. But we have a very robust marketing campaign. So I hired a company that pay very handsomely per month to manage all that process, and we have monthly meetings about it. But basically, we try to message. And the reason why we want to message is we want people to see us. Probably the reason I'm on here as well is to see a philosophy that catches their interest, right? And they say, hey, that's one of my problems. And so podcasts, social media, CRMs we do it in 4 different buckets. We do uniform companies, sports companies, retailers, and promo companies. And by the way, we try to diversify those 4 and not let one get too big as well. So it's important to do that. So we might go heavy on promo next year. I don't know if we will, but meaning that how do we create the balanced shop? That's another subject. But I see a lot of shops get referrals and they then become specialty in retail. Well, the reality is what happens if, COVID happens, right? So, those type of things I think are really good. But I think the thing I think is, I have a marketing degree, so maybe it's kind of in my DNA, but, the marketing of your company is telling people who you are and letting people decide if it's worthwhile to give you a rank, right? And if there's a common interest. So, we were very aggressive on marketing. I do all the onboarding. We don't, we vet the customer. I would tell you that if we get 30 inquiries, probably 10 to 12 work. And also be real honest with them. If they're very price sensitive and that's their only situation and we're not the cheapest or whatever, that's fine. I mean, we're not going to chase that situation. Yeah. If they don't really want to process and they don't like our technology, that's okay. If they don't have, honestly, where we're at today is if they don't have problems we can solve, they're probably fine with their local printer. Yeah. Right. So, be humble with them and be honest with them, and don't see it as a call to get the business or sell them, but really get the call to see if we can create a connection and we can be of value for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. What a great mechanism, so to speak, to measure that against, right? Like if you're not able to create value for them, that's probably not going to be an ultimate right fit. And so those are the opportunities. And I think that probably, Dan, goes back to what you were talking about at the beginning, where you look at yourself as a solutions provider. Yes. How can we solve a problem as opposed to how can we sell more shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we had one retailer that had 5 different printers, and the first thing I said when he called is I want to be your only solution. And he said, well, we've always done it this way. And I said, well, but what about? And we started talking. Today I procure all the garments. I drop ship to the stores. We built racks and pick aisles for them. We're a total solution for them. And the good news is they don't have procurement department for garments anymore. They've focused their warehouse on their hard goods business and different things like that. So it makes me happy when I see that, we see something that we push forward and we see that the outcome is better for both parties, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Dan, I'm not putting you in this box at all, but I'm just kind of industry wide. I think we have this vision of what a contract decorator is, and I believe that's at least adjacent to what it is that you do, right? And I don't know. I think the picture is that a contract decorator, they're a screen printer, they're an embroiderer, they're basically competing on pennies, that type of thing. But I know you have also then looked at your business and embraced, you talked about having DTG and DTF and stuff like that inside of your business. And how do you manage that? Going from that kind of analog to digital from a pricing perspective, and what do you like about digital decorating that it helps your business?
Yeah, so digital now is 1/3 of our orders. We're actually 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And what that means is embroidery 1/3, screen print 1/3, and now digital is 1/3. And that could be DTG, heat press, patches. We work with World Emblem in a partnership to do that. We procure those for the customer. So we consider that all digital. It's, the patches aren't really, but it's kind of the same heat press environment, right? Yeah. And so what we did when we got into digital, and I think it's coming around. I can hear people using the language, but I heard digital is going to take over screen print, right? And I'm thinking to myself, that I don't see that. Yep. What I see is digital is a great supplement for certain things. So if a customer comes in and says, hey, we have 10 shirts, 9 colors, we'd like to screen print this, we instantly give them the digital option as well. Probably DTF or DTG if it's 100% cotton. So that consultation, we have a very robust team of people that quote within half a day or less and create solutions for them and give them options. What's that? For example, my hat is, I always wear this hat as a DTF. It's a great solution. Everybody wanted screen print on a hat, which is impossible, right? So, but embroidery is great, but sometimes this detail would not work very well with embroidery. Left chest polos. If you look at the PGA right now, they've gone all to DTF. I mean, look at all the golfers. They have no more embroidered stuff because it's a real high poly garment. And so what we try to do is to say, hey, have you ever thought about DTF in hat for finer detail or higher color count, so on and so forth? Left chest is going to pucker and kind of mash up on you over time, no matter how good you are. What about screen print that's high color count or low volume? And we give them the price difference. And a lot of times they'll go. We have 2 big customers. If it's under 12 pieces, we just DTF it by rule as well. So the DTF department rose, but it's not replacing screen print or embroidery. It's a supplement, right?
Amazing. Yep. Yeah, it's just such a refreshing perspective, huh? Right? Like Terry and I are sitting here smiling as you're talking and shaking our head going, yep, this is what we've been saying for 13 years, people.
Oh, exactly right. So this has been awesome. We're kind of running up against the clock right now. Dan, how can people reach out to you, find out about your services, or talk to you personally?
I'm not so much on some social media. Probably the best way is I don't mind emails or reaching out is that silverscreenprinting.com is our website. You can always, also, I still put my email address on LinkedIn as well. It's dan.frank@silverscreenprinting.com. And my cell phone's on there. I've wondered if I should take it off after a while, but I just want to be available for people.
Yeah. You guys, Dan is such an incredible resource, right? Just again, somebody that's always looking to provide solutions. You guys could become the next great partners together too. So don't hesitate to reach out to Dan. He's always been so incredibly giving with the information and support and help. So thank you very much, Dan.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Awesome. In fact, American Print Supply says Dan is a great ambassador for the industry and an exemplary business owner. So there you go. More kudos for you, Dan. I know you're a humble guy, so we appreciate you taking on those kudos. All right, Dan, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate you being here with us, and looking forward to talking to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
Appreciate it. All right.
Fantastic. Awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Is your junior yellow legal pad fully loaded there? Yeah. Like I said, I was running out of space to write on my little whiteboard area on the side of my desk.
Great information. And I agreed with everything, especially from the standpoint of the production floor. So
yeah, amazing. Yeah. My neck's a little sore from all the nodding and agreeing. Yeah. All right. Real quick, Terry, before we dive into what's coming up here, just again, a reminder that the Reggie voting is happening now. So go over to tworegularguys.com/Reggies, and that will take you to the voting. We won't go through the whole list here today. I don't think we've got enough time for that, but you can get over there after we're done and make sure that you've got your vote in. Really good stuff happening. We're seeing the votes coming in, and we're also seeing people promoting the fact that they are part of the Reggie Awards out there. So
I love it.
Kudos to you guys. That's what this is all
wrong
about.
With that at all.
Absolutely, not a bit wrong with that. And again, Terry, that's always been what the Reggies are all about, right? It's not something, it's not a good old boys network. It's not like we literally are just the facilitators of it. So.
Right.
I know that throughout the years we've learned, right? People gaming the system in certain cases. And so we threw a couple rules in there to kind of level the playing field. But I think at this point, we've got a really good system that as long as you guys out there, the regulators and all of the decorators community show up and participate in this awards show, it will be the great representation of who are the movers and shakers in the space. So
exactly right. Perfectly said.
Thank you. All right, Terry. Well, I know you are. Oh, look at this! I didn't even scroll down enough there. Breaking news, everybody. Where's the breaking news? Terry, what's coming up for you, sir?
Yeah, I am starting to schedule out 2026. I hate to be the one to say it, but it's around the corner, everybody. My complete screen printing business course, my first class at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago will be March 21st through 22nd. We actually have the whole year scheduled out. And watch for all of my upcoming events at terrycombs.com. And Aaron, how about you? And then I'll do Eric's for
okay. You. Awesome. Appreciate that. So what's happening for me right now is I'm encouraging everybody to get over to the Entrepreneur Success Hub. It's our Facebook group over there at osg.link/group. There's an awesome gratitude challenge going on that my wife has dedicated to getting a new gratitude prompt in there every day. And I encouraged everybody in there this morning to not just read the prompts, but participate. I think the more gratitude we can share, the more inspired we'll all be. And a rising tide does lift all boats. So love you to get over there again to osg.link/group. And then I did announce just yesterday, just last evening, in fact, a new program that I'm putting out there called the Fundamentals Business Builder Accelerator. And so I'm looking for 13 business owners that want to rebuild their foundation so they can fall back in love with what they get to do and kind of be more fulfilled in their day-to-day operations, as well as achieve their business goals. And so this first pilot program here, I'm only taking 13 people. Want to make sure that everybody gets the attention that they need to be able to implement this. And I also noted that for these first 13 folks that join this program, they will also get access to our Masters of Success Mastermind program for the rest of 2026, absolutely free. That's a $2,500 value. So I was nervous, right? We all do this. We get the imposter syndrome and all this other stuff. I'm going to put this out there and it's going to be crickets. I already have people that are signed up and ready to go, and more people that are interested. So I'm really excited about this program. So, and then the other thing that I've got to share is every Saturday at noon Central Time, I host Small Business Saturdays. You can find it over at liveosg.com, which will take you to our YouTube channel over there. And so this week's discussion, I'm trying to remember what I'm talking about. That's tomorrow. So it didn't come up to my brain. But last week we talked about the 5 prerequisites of entrepreneurship. And so it's definitely a lot of mindset, but just some real practical. I try to give some real practical strategies for ways to overcome some of the stories that we put in our own heads. And then practical advice for operating our businesses. I think a lot of times we're looking for the magic bullet, hey, do this magical thing and everything will be great. But I think it's the other way around. Once you get this right, what needs to happen for your business comes and flows naturally. So we let go of that tension. So that's what Small Business Saturday is all about. And that will be tomorrow at noon Central Time. So that's what I've got going on, Terry.
All right, so join Eric this afternoon when he jumps on camera for the Take Up episode 237. Eric, I don't know how you keep gaining on us, but Q&A, template talk, knockdown, name drop, do-overs, and drawing. In this episode, Eric will answer a few quick questions from his mailbox, including how and when templates can be helpful in machine embroidery in business, how knockdown and other nap tacking stitches work best, ways to save embroidered goods with mistyped names, and a quick reminder on drawing for digitizing, and how to best think about objects. Jump in with Eric at 4:30 Eastern, 2:30 Mountain, and ask questions. And Eric, you're still on Mountain Time, buddy. You live in Pennsylvania. Check it out at ericcampbell.com on the Take Up tab at the top. Also, the Technique Toolbox is back at Impressions Expo Long Beach. It's coming sooner than you think. Join Eric, Joe Kramer, Justin Armenta, excuse me, and Katie Wubin for a 4-in-1 workshop all about creating looks for business-to-business commercial embroidery that rival retail and move beyond boring commodity work. Register at, and it's going to be on your screen. Use the code SPEAK210 for 20% off a full conference pass. So that's what Eric is up to.
Awesome.
And Aaron, are you ready for a little secret sauce?
Let's do some secret sauce here. Hey there, regulators. Aaron Montgomery here with today's secret sauce. We've been talking a lot lately on the Two Regular Guys podcast about the explosion of AI. Everywhere you look, there's a tool that promises to double your productivity, create more content, triple your output overnight, right? And we were just part of an awesome event yesterday where Terry and I actually interviewed ChatGPT. And so growth has really never been easier. But here's the problem. While it's easier than ever to do more, it's also easier than ever to blend in and just become part of the robot machine noise. And honestly, your customers, the people that you're trying to connect with, they're not looking for more content. They actually want connection. So in a world where anyone can push out 10,000 social media posts with a click of a button or hundreds of crappy pieces of art from Midjourney, what they really want is deep authenticity. And if you can balance AI with being real, I believe that's how you can win. I remember when I first started seeing ChatGPT show up in people's marketing. One week I'd get an email from someone who sounded just like them, right? I knew them personally and I knew how they talked face to face. The next week, that same email from that same person suddenly was twice as long, packed with fancy words that I knew they'd never use and overflowing with emojis, right? They stopped talking to me and started letting AI talk for them. And honestly, just like that, I hit the unsubscribe button. And I think that's what might be happening to your customers. So when growth outpaces our authenticity, yes, you might grab attention, but you're going to end up losing trust. But here's the good news. If we can balance and utilize AI without losing ourselves in that noise, that's where we're going to win. So I've got 3, 4, maybe 5, we'll see how it goes here, things that I believe we can do to utilize AI and still balance that authenticity. So number 1 is understand that AI is an amplifier, not a mask, right? Yes, let the tools help save you time, but never let them take over your voice, right? I feed my AI tools everything about me, my business plan, my strengths, my values, my passions. And once those tools understand those things about me, then they become an amplifier, not taking over my voice, right? They're not rewriting who I am. So that's number 1. Number 2, make sure that you are infusing humanity into all of your systems before anything goes out, right? An email, a post, a message, review it entirely and ask yourself this one simple question. Does it sound like me? Does it sound like you? Would you say that out loud in a normal conversation? If not, fix it, change it. A quick personal note or even owning mistakes are going to connect far better than something perfectly polished. So that's number 2. Number 3, lead with transparency. Be open about how you're using the tools. I'll be honest, a lot of what I write starts with AI, but I feed it all of the thoughts and ideas that are me first, let it help organize those thoughts and make it flow better. And then after the AI tool, I rewrite it. I infuse my own stories. I make sure it reflects who I am. And I want to be completely honest with that, right? My books, there was a lot of AI use going on in writing both of these books. And so that transparency, I think, really helps us too. And then number 4 here, align the AI with your values, right? Before you start chasing that next shiny strategy or object, ask, does this align with who I am and how I want to serve? Many times AI is going to give us some interesting takes, but if you don't have clear, what I call SVPs, strengths, values, and passions, which are for me, the guardrails to measure ideas and content against, then I'm not sure I want to implement that. So for example, if your value is helping others fall in love with what they get to do, like is mine, then a strategy or content to create more fear and drive cheap sales is not going to work. Here's the thing. The future belongs to the businesses that grow, implement, and embrace new tools that are available to us, but also finding the ways to creatively stay human. Yes, AI is going to keep getting smarter, but authenticity is our actual human thumbprint that I don't believe AI is ever going to be able to master. No algorithm can copy authenticity and trust. So when you balance the use of AI to grow with authenticity, you don't just build a bigger business, you build a stronger brand. And that brand is one that customers are going to trust, they're going to believe in, and they're going to want to be a part of. So if you want to explore this topic even deeper, I do have a Small Business Saturdays episode going much deeper into this topic that you can find at osg.link/authentic. And that's your secret sauce for today. Grow with intention, stay real, and let AI amplify the best parts of you, not replace them.
All right, that was excellent. Everybody who's thinking about starting to use AI, or if you're doing it already, take every one of those points to heart.
Yeah, it was huge for me. I definitely will be honest. I started off with the, oh my gosh, look at this. This is so great. Copy paste, right? And I lost touch with who I was and those connections that I was building. And so now that I've learned those tools, I want to make sure that everybody else understands those points as well.
Awesome. All right.
Good stuff, Terry. What a great day. What an amazing show today. We have come to the close of another show. We want to really thank Dan Frank for joining us today and sharing his story and just all of his ways of thinking, right? You guys know that I'm a big believer in uncommon mindsets. Terry is as well. And again, we were just shaking and nodding, agreeing, and wow, took so much stuff out of that. So really thanks to Dan today. Make sure that you guys are connecting with him. He could be the partner that you're missing in your business.
All right. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does to keep the show moving and turning those knobs and spinning those wheels back there.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Eric. It's man, makes a better show for sure. So thank you, Eric. Next week, Terry, we've got Warren Werbit going to be joining us. We've had him on before. So we will have to keep note of the times where we're going to have to edit some things, but because he's very passionate, and we're going to talk about a topic that he's very passionate about in what's wrong with printers, right? So we're not only going to address what's wrong with printers, but what we can do instead that will help us build our businesses, sell more, and all that good stuff. So looking forward to talking to Warren next week, Terry.
I love it. Me too. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.